When to go, when to serve. I was like, oh, it came from there. I think it was from. Oh, no. Yeah. We're hearing like, we're hearing ourselves out of that. And I don't know why. That looks like the night made to me.
What if I push
Oh, I know why.
this
My
mic
phone's
on?
coming out of the, it's picking up from the computer.
Yeah, I know exactly. But there's a little mic
I
button
fixed
here.
it.
Okay.
Started. It was because the COVID times all over. It's open. So.
Be good. So,
Yeah, well.
oh, you so good. She worked really hard sitting up there, and I didn't want to tell her. I really, it works better if it's closer over here.
If the screen is closer over here. You might.
No, I'm still thinking.
Okay.
It's just better. Oh,
She.
I think her Tuesday had
And
something
she's
that
going to start.
Mhm.
She had problems. Yeah, but this time,
I think it's-
this time
that
what I did.
So are you ready for me to get started?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
What I did was I made it so you can put a presentation up so that people can see it.
Are you, are we broadcasting?
Yes. Adam Street. And she sold them, so we're actually going out.
All right.
And then.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight for,
Yep. We're
Bluegrass. Hey, Mel. Hey, Mel. Mel, we started. Sorry. Anyway, thanks everybody for joining us tonight. I'm Sharon Spraggins, president of the Autism Society of Bluegrass. And we have a little group of people here. And if anybody ever wants to come and join us at our meeting, we are now meeting at the artworks at the Harbor School. It's a Parks and Rec location. It's a beautiful building that's been made from an old school here. And we'd love for you to join us. And we always have food at our meetings. So come and join us. And I always say that a lot of very young accidental information is had when you actually attend a meeting. You pick up with not just the speaker, but with the other people who are in attendance at the meetings. And so many of our members are true experts and have a lot of really great information to pass along that could be of use to you. Okay, I will just do a few announcements before I introduce our speaker. Our March 31st ASBG meeting, and we do meet the last Monday of each month, most months. We will hear from Chris Brown of the British Swim School, and they do a lot of training, swim teaching kids with disabilities. So that will be very interesting to hear from, because especially, I'm glad we're having him in March because that's ahead of the swim season. Dangerous time of year, especially for our kids. Then April 28th, we will hear from Josh Fain he's an attorney from Life Plan of Kentucky, and he will talk about special needs trusts. Even if you don't have a trust yet, don't feel like it's time to have a trust yet, it's really good to go ahead and start loading up that information. And that's perfect. Yes. loading up on that information because you're going to need to know about it someday. And it's really interesting to know how these tools work. They keep, they allow people to have their, maintain their public benefits and not having to impoverish themselves in order to be able to see. And it protects the ones that are family members. Then in May, we have okay, all kinds of world. Oh, yeah. Okay, so does anybody else know of any other announcements that I put out there? Okay, all right. So tonight we're going to learn about music therapy and music therapy of different sorts that are unusual. So we're going to hear from Chelsea Gibbs with Central Kentucky Creative Therapies. Okay. This presentation will offer information about what music therapy is, how it is used, and the potential benefits of receiving services. There will be interactive components with live examples of music therapy interventions, and it will conclude with learning about other services that Central Kentucky Creative Therapies offers and how to set up and receive services. Chelsea Gibbs, who is our speaker tonight, is the founder of Central Kentucky Creative Therapies. She holds bachelor's degrees in music performance and music education and is currently pursuing a master's degree in music therapy, as well as a graduate certificate in developmental disabilities and certification in NICU music therapy. And I will tell you that Central Kentucky Creative Therapies is an LLC dedicated to enriching lives through the power of creativity and connection with music therapy, equine-assisted music therapy, art therapy, and music lessons. Through these services, individuals find healing and foster self-expression and personal growth in a supportive and safe environment. So, welcome, Chelsea. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for that introduction.
We appreciate it.
I'm excited. Do I need to share this or anything, Kelly? Or is it all set to go? You should share it. Yep. Perfect. So, yeah, it's so you're gonna put it here either. Yeah, me too. Yeah, nice. I know. I shared it and there's one in, there's one in, first area. There's just. This is standard. Good. It's time. And these are empty. Some people but it's against council. Yeah, that's full screen. And then it's oh, thank you. And it's not. It's not. So it's actually my native design. And that can be put work. Thank you so much. Well, thank you all for having me and I appreciate the introduction. I was wondering if I could just get everybody's names one more time. I remember Joe and that's it.
She's a good one to remember.
Vicky, okay.
Joe and Sarah.
Sarah, okay.
Melanie.
It's nice to re-meet you all. Thank you for sharing with me. So she already read what I do, but I started Central Kentucky Creative Therapies and I do music therapy, music lessons. We have an art therapist on staff, and then we do equine assisted music therapy, which I'll get into later.
The new one to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I just like to make the statement that we work very hard to make sure that we have equitable and inclusive services for everyone. I didn't know how that was going to go. So So a little bit about me. So that's me in the pink. I was born and raised in Vermont, so very cold. This weather we've been having is nothing compared to Vermont. I started playing the flute in fourth grade, and I absolutely loved it. And in middle school and high school, I did weekly flute lessons, piano lessons, voice lessons, jazz band, saxophone, orchestra, marching band. All that. I knew music was going to be a big part of my life. So in undergrad, I went to a small school in Vermont, and I double majored in music education and music performance. I spent a couple years teaching in Vermont, and I did pre-K through eighth grade. Schools are small there, so they all go to school until high school. Wow. I moved to Kentucky with my partner for her schooling, and I thought I was going to be taking a temporary caregiver job for. She was 13 at the time with intellectual and developmental disabilities, and I said, "Okay, that'll get me through till I get a job." And that quickly turned into full time. It's been 7 years. I'm still with her. That's my course right here. So she's part of my why, I guess you could say. When I was working with her, I also started working in supported employment. So helping people with disabilities find jobs, helping them find supports. And I just absolutely loved that population. And I loved everything I was learning about a relatively new population to me anyway. But I really missed making music. And I was like, what a hard choice. And then I learned that UK has a music therapy program. So I didn't have to make the choice. I said, well, I'll go back to school. I don't think I do that. Lifelong learning. They do, yes, and so does U of L.
Okay. I think you guys must be fairly new.
He's not go to U of L. He's good.
That's okay.
So everyone asks me what is music therapy. In school, we had to learn how to make an elevator pitch. We knew everybody was going to ask, what is a music therapist? What do you do? So it is an evidence-based practice. Everything is backed by research, which is why it's considered a health service. And it has to be provided by a board-certified music therapist. So some people will try and say that they're doing music therapy, but they don't have the credentials. That is not really music therapy. And what we do is we use music to work on non-musical goals. What does that mean? Social emotional goals, physical and motor goals could be fine motor, gross motor, and cognitive goals could be memory, could be working on a kiddo's academic skills. So we use music that people like to help them work on non-musical goals. So I'm not working on making everyone a great musician when I'm doing music therapy. Music is my tool. So music therapy can be used for promoting health development. You know, research says that kids learn from playing, and music therapy with kids is very playful. It can help strengthen the child and caregiver bond. So that's something that parents and the kids can do together. I actually have a partnership with a foster care organization, and I do music therapy and their supervised visitations, working specifically with parents trying to get custody back of their kids, working on that bond. And that has been a really good partnership. Addressing mental health, anxiety, depression, we all have felt that recently, I feel. And when you're making music and you're doing something you like with other people, dopamine gets released in your brain. You start to feel good. You can learn some music-assisted relaxation techniques that you can use outside of the music therapy setting. It's also a great way to collaborate with OT, PT, and your SLPs. So I will oftentimes get kids goals from their OT or PT. I'll talk with their speech therapist, see what kind of sounds they're working on. I'll get their IEPs, see what goals that the school is working on with them, and try and incorporate those goals, but using music. So I want you to pretend we're gonna start out as kids. This is the best way to understand what music therapy is, I think, is to just see it, be a part of it. So I show my kids and I say, that is that face. Blinking, and they like to feel it, they all feel different. It's fun. on it, feeling loved. And man, and happy. And these all feel different. So like sitting on a group and feeling different. This one feels like a sleep mat. It feels like water resistant. So I'll pass those around. Yeah, you can use my fine, that's fine. That's it. It's another way of choosing how to express yourself without necessarily the words. It is working out at the iPad. So think about what's on you today. All right. It's all right to make sure everybody gets a chance. And they start to learn that. They start singing along too. So they're learning just that simple, hey, how are you today? And there's no wrong answer. It's okay if they say they're sad or mad. All right. And this one's fun, a little frog. You drawn some outline. You want this one? Noisy one. Okay. I don't let everything you Yeah, we'll pull out one more. Reading that you want to play along.
Good, Mark. Well, we're good. Sure.
Oh. I've got this thing, I've got a fake egg and a frog.
Froggy.
A froggy. It sounds like a frog too. With younger kids, I might play a game like this. Chelsea is the leader of the band. You can play this. It's Chelsea is the leader of the band. Chelsea is the leader of the band. Does anybody want to stop and go? It's like a yeah. What is that? Jake. Okay, so Jake is leader of the band. Jake is leader of the band. Jake is the leader of the band. Yes. Thanks. You get the idea, and there might be a point where that's a big one. I'll do that one if we have time at the end. Okay. So it seems like fun and games, right? So if we look at the list of some music therapy techniques, are there any that jump out to you? Where you're like, oh yeah, we just did that. Oh, wait. I don't know how to make this. Oh, out of the ones you can see, I guess. Breathing techniques.
Yeah, I said that because I just recently finished reading The Body Keeps Score, and one of the things I'm talking about with children who have a lot of anxiety is breathing.
Yep. Anything else jump out to you? Oh, there are a lot of them used. Active music making, yes or no? Yeah, we were making music. Were we listening to music? Yep. Was there auditory stimulation? Was there sound going in your ear, stimulating your brain? Yep. Breathing techniques. Was there choice making? Did you have any choices in this? Yeah. They get to even say, play fast, play slow. They get to choose when to stop, when to go, how to play. Contingent music. So that is when we are waiting for something in order to get the music. So we were waiting for the go to play. It can also be used as a reward or a motivator. Hey, you gotta do this. I know we don't like math, but we gotta do these 2 math problems and then we can listen to Let It Go or whatever. So it's, entrainment, if you felt yourself kind of move into the music, getting into the beat, that's entrainment. Improvisation, do too much of that, making stuff up on the spot. I guess you did with your instruments. Movement to music. Well, that's a music therapy specific term that can be used in a lot of places. It means we meet the person where they are, and work with them over the course of an intervention to get them to where we would like to be. One example of this, I worked with an older adult in her home, and she has bipolar disorder and schizophrenia, and she was just really dysregulated out there, just mad. So I gave her a drum. Just no way, like let's start banging. I took my guitar and I started match. She was doing it, right? We probably played like that for 5-10 minutes straight, just like press. I started to really slowly quiet down a little bit, slow down a little bit. Probably over the course of 30 minutes, we went from really aggressive to a really peaceful state. And then we had 30 minutes left in the session to work on our goals, right? We know that we can't learn and process information if we're in that heightened state. Okay, let's move on to being older than little kids. I do some vocational rehab stuff too, so working with teenagers and young adults. This person, we rewrote Flowers by Miley Cyrus. We're talking about what responsibilities are, what his responsibilities are around the house, around school, and then we could get into a further discussion about, okay, how do we make sure that we're doing these things, right? So this was his version, and he thought this was super cool. I can do my chores. I will. And I do my own dishes. Are my response. So then you get the last goodies, you know. A little bit of rewriting, right? He's more likely to remember those chores that he wants to do because now it's a really catchy song that he wanted to sing every single day. Another one we did was transitioning back to school. So summer vacation was over. A lot of people have a hard time with that transition, starting school again. So we spent that session talking about the transition back into school, and we wanted to focus on the things that went well and the things he's looking forward to. So we rewrote my favorite things, but his favorite things. So taking Spanish and getting my Chromebook, having good days and eating some cheeseburgers, getting to see my friends. These are a few of my favorite things, right? Cheeseburgers at school is the highlight of this day. Are there any questions so far about some examples? I chose to focus on kids to young adults. Any other audience?
Well, she said you were doing something about NICU. He's doing NICU.
Yeah, so I did take a summer course at University of Kentucky. Oh, I was like, I know that's not this. And if you actually get to go into the NICU during the certification process, which is really cool. And you learn how to slowly introduce any sort of stimuli to the infant that is appropriate. So it might start where you're not touching them and you're just humming. They tolerate that. Maybe you'll add a gentle touch. There's like a certain order as to how you would massage them. While you're singing the song, they can tolerate that. Maybe you add a little bit of this sort of while you're humming and massage. Okay, they can handle that. What if we had words to the song? Okay, so and you track. I mean, they're hooked up to those machines, and you stay for 10, 20 minutes. And you track their oxygen levels went up, their heart rate went down. Those are our cues as to know where they tolerate. And UK actually does have music therapists at the hospital, and they are, I think, all making certified. So, like, the nurses can put in a request for music. This is an example. I think you'll recognize the song. A more guided relaxation and imagery type of intervention that can also be good for grounding or just getting people focused, and it's really good for any age, honestly. Let's see if I can grab the volume. Good line. That's not the right one. This is the kid movement one first. Smiling like a bee, spinning like a bee, or they say buzz like a bee, when to turn around, when to stop. So again, that's good with individuals, and it's also really good with groups because they have to wait, right? Impulse control so that everyone can have a turn to house. The next one is the grounding one. What one? Grounding. You know how to turn the volume. Good. That's not an external.
That's the last as well.
Yeah, I
Was
was
it a different, because it was TikTok instead of YouTube?
both TikToks.
Well,
Demonstrate this. The tune of Here Comes the Sun. Here comes the sun, do do do. Here comes the sun, and I say it's all right. I just kind of am, and I say, here are 5 things I can see. Here are 5 things I can see. Then I have them. There are 5 things I can see. And then we go down to 4 things we can hear. What are 1 or 3 things we can touch? 1 or 2 things we can feel, what something we can taste, okay? So it slowly brings them down. I did not create this intervention, one of my friends did, so I want to give Elena credit for that one, but that is one of my favorites to do. It's all good. Probably back down to work.
And check volume on that, so you should do it now. If not, it probably.
Yeah.
Like shopping shop.
Oh.
Absolutely. So this next one is a good one for older, not little kids, so I'm using rhythm sticks and they can use a song of their choosing. And we go through and we work on creating a pattern that suited the music. This can be good for fine motor, this can be good for gross motor, this can be good for cross midline. It can be good for working on memory. This can be good teamwork. This could be, you can modify this and do it with a whole group and see how that goes. So, little rhythm stick one. It's frozen. It hurts you. Yeah. I'm a Mac user through and through, so. And when I go out to the internet. It's hot on my phone. Yes. It's hot. big part. So these one more tested.
Oh, no. Yeah, right here.
Oh,
Right with this paper.
Yeah.
Open it.
So the internet isn't very encouraging today, I guess. So you'll just have to imagine that we're playing a game with the rhythms.
That's it, that we're playing in
A
what?
game with the rhythm sticks. We had come up with a routine and it was including like tossing the sticks to each other, and catching it. It was all beat. We had a pattern along with everything. This one was too like a puzzle, so kids seem to have a lot of fun with this. This one is in the computer and you can draw and it turns the drawing into sound. It's very cool. It's called Chrome Music Lab. It's free Chrome Music Lab. There's a lot of really cool things on Chrome Music. So this is a video, which again you'll just have to imagine. But I was working with a young adult, probably in his 20s. And he uses a chair, he's mostly non-speaking, and this is a great way to get him involved in music. So he drew his thing, so working on that pencil grip, right, on the iPad, it automatically made a little backbeat for us, and then I gave him some instruments, we kind of improvised over that. And we also worked on creating some sounds with our voices too, like humming.
Is it app only or is it on the?
No, you can just Google it.
My son uses GarageBand to make a lot
Wait
more
for that.
It isn't really, so he could probably.
This is like very user friendly. See it like that. Like the sound for you at least. Oops. Internet doesn't work there, doesn't work either. But that is very cool. And it's an acceptable way to get everyone involved. Chrome Music Lab also has like a shared piano. So it's a digital piano that you can play with your mouse or with your finger on your phone, and you can actually share the link with people so you can all be using it at the same time. So finding stuff like this has really helped music therapists be able to offer services virtually, which means I can offer services to people who aren't in driving distance to Lexington.
Where are you located?
I am located in Lexington. Yep.
Do you do services out in an office or?
I do. I also travel to facilities, so I'll go to schools, I'll go to daycares, I'll go to long-term care facilities, I'll go to people's homes. Sometimes people come to me, sometimes we do telehealth. So any way that we can get services to people who need services, I'm willing to try. Yes.
Does insurance pay for it?
That is a great question. It's very exciting news. So the state of Kentucky is not covering music therapy at all. And I worked very hard to be the first person who could accept very limited United Healthcare Medicaid for music therapy. So if you know anyone with United Healthcare, all they have to do is call their insurance person and say, oh, I'd like to work with Central Kentucky Creative Therapies. If they have an autism diagnosis, they will be covered. And that just started like 2 weeks ago. Wow. It's like, get the word out.
So does that cover all music therapy? I mean, was it something that? I don't know.
Other music therapists can become a provider as well. I don't know how many we have on the list right now in Kentucky since it was started. I was fortunate enough to be doing music therapy services with a kiddo, and his mom was the service enrollee director for United Healthcare Medicaid, and she said every kid needs access to this. I'm gonna work with you, and we're gonna make sure that any kid with an autism diagnosis has United Healthcare services.
Wow.
And schools provide it as well. So music therapy in the schools is considered a related service, just like occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech, language. So they have to pay for it.
That's what I was thinking.
Yep. And so they, a music therapist will come in and do an assessment, and they'll make the argument that music therapists fit, and then different music therapists provide the service. But the school has to provide it if it is deemed a necessary service for the student. Which is how so many Fayette County kids have.
Do you work with adults, you do work with adults, like for things to do with, anxiety or
Yes,
depression or things like that?
absolutely.
Yeah.
A lot of that seems to revolve around listening to music and having music-based discussions. So really delving into the lyrics of the song, kind of doing some verbal processing about that. And then learning some techniques and skills that they can use outside of the music therapy setting. It can be something as simple as making a playlist for all different moods, and so they know which one they need to go to if I'm not there. Okay, this, I'm feeling this emotion, and I want to feel this. This is a pre-created list of songs that I created.
Excellent, yeah. Are you fighting for, yeah, recognize this?
Yeah, there's a whole task force of music therapists in Kentucky that have been working for years, is my understanding, and there is a bill, and we're just waiting for the House to approve it.
That's what I probably.
It's not, they've tried a few other times, so it's, but we all want this, right?
Do you know more about them?
I'm sorry?
Do you know more about them?
Yes, yeah. She does the music therapy groups here at the Parks and Rec.
That's right.
Yes, yes.
So she's been.
Yes, she's on the task force as well. And she is one of the providers who can accept United Healthcare. She's also signed up for that too. So other services that I provide specifically at Central Kentucky Creative Therapies. I do have an art therapist. She just started this year, and she's with me 2 days a week, and she's going to work on building her caseload. But much like music therapy, art therapy is working on non-artistic goals, and she's using art to do so. It's a great way if you want if somebody wants something like hands-on and tangible. Sometimes music can be overstimulating for a lot of folks, so maybe not always get it. And, art doesn't have that auditory stimulation that music does. And she should be able to accept all forms of Medicaid this summer.
Art therapy, what's her name?
Her name is Carl.
Okay,
Yes.
no problem, no problem.
I can send these slides after. I also do equine assisted music therapy.
How about that?
Let's talk about that. So I partner with the nonprofit Annie's Answer. They used to be in Lexington, and they just moved just over the Nicholasville line with Pat's Palace. South King Road. And she has a beautiful facility with therapy courses. And we thought, gosh, there's so much that you're working on with equine therapy that really crosses over with what I do in music therapy. Like there has to be some way that we can combine this. And she focuses a lot, less so on the physical skills of riding a horse and more so on therapeutic healing, trauma, and care. And so we put out an interest form 2 years ago. Would anybody like send their kids to a summer camp at the farm? We like do stuff with horses, music therapy, and like 80 people signed up. I said, well, I guess we're doing summer camp. And we did it last year again. We're going to do it again this year. And all that stuff we posted, I planned by the end of the week to have some campsites ready to go by the end of this week.
Starting to the last Monday you start. Sunday, but you could come in and just chat at the top of the meeting. I've got an announcement about the Senate.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, absolutely.
You don't have to.
Yeah,
I told you that. Or listener.
yeah, I really appreciate that, yeah. Here's a mini works, they fits. So we were talking about non-speaking communication and nonverbal communication. And so we pulled out a couple different horses and a couple different instruments. And we had the kids go up to the different horses, play the different instruments, and then their job was to look at how the horse was responding, to try and figure out, were they scared? Did they like it? Do they want to eat it? Like, what signals are they giving you without using words that you know what you need to do next, right? Very cool. The instrument that goes like this that you have, yeah. So one of the horses from the Midwest, very scared of that. And then we don't look at it. Why? Rattlesnakes, right? It sounds like a rattlesnake. Have an instrument that sounds like rain. Oh, artists. No, they're used to rain, right? Jingle bells, they weren't scared of jingle bells. It was a great way to, I mean, you can't, like, the horse isn't gonna talk back to you, right? So being able to pick up on those nonverbal cues and try and realize, try to figure out what the horse wants, right? Do they want to be louder? Do I need to stop? How can I take this into the group that I'm with right now? If somebody's doing this, what are they trying to communicate to me? Here we did an obstacle course. The kids got in two different groups and they built obstacle courses to lead the horse through. And I started with music. I was just playing music and I said, you know, if I play faster, you're going to walk the horse louder. If I play softer, you're going to walk quieter. If I stop, you stop. And there's like a signal for turn around. After they got that done, I gave instruments to the kids. I said, you come up with the signals, right? So they're working with a group. They're really working on listening. Again, there's that cognitive aspect of remembering what everything does. They have to work with a group because they're trying to lead a horse through an obstacle course. And they have to work with each other because they have to know when to trade leaders, like who's leading the horse, right? So they're working on so many skills through this obstacle course music game that we created. It's a fix hit. It's fun.
Did you do the summer camp at Katie's Answer?
Yes. Yep. Yep. What's the age range? It's like 5 to young adults. We do like each week is for a different age. Yeah. And then we also do half-day adaptive camps so that contribute or most of our young adults with disabilities come, and it's a half day, so it gets really hot out there in the summer, and we just modify things a little bit to just make it a little more approachable. So yes, and Annie's answers. Oh yes, oh yeah. I've also had some people sign up for individual sessions, so I'll go out there with them, and there's like a riding instructor, and then me, and we work together to work on a lot of that anxiety reduced type of stuff. Listening to music while you're riding first. Here's an activity I played different types of music for the kids to listen to, and they took their heart rate after they listened to it and saw if it kind of matched what they were feeling. Like, oh, I really love this. I got excited. I started moving. My heart rate started going faster, right? And then we tried to do the same thing with the horses. So I brought like stethoscopes out for them. So that's what they're doing here. They're finding the horse's heartbeat. He has little things in its ear. And so we were trying to figure out, like, how cool is it that we can listen to different music and it physically changes what's happening in her body. Horses are very expressive as well. Does this translate? Can they pick up on what we're feeling? Yes, they can. This was the intervention with the 5 things you hear, 4 things you. So we did it. They got in groups. So there were a couple of horses around, and 4 kids on each horse. Really grounded, just their hands on, their eyes closed. We went through the things. We talked about it after. But you know, how get settled into your space in the heart. So they all have their hands up there. They thought that was the coolest thing. I moved to a new office space in January, which means I'm able to offer more programs. So I have the space. It's on Custer Drive, Pimlico Parkway, near Taco Chico. I'll start with the youngest age programs I have. So there's a toddler music and play group. So this is specifically, like 2 to 4. There's a 1-year-old or 5. It's fine. But we spend the first half doing music, which is kind of the stuff that we did together at the beginning. And then there's just open play after.
Maybe Sydney.
I feel like I saw it over by, kindergarten. Yeah, there's like 3 daycares on that road. Yes, yeah. I live over. This says open/parallel playgroup. That's hidden underneath the sign. So this is for ages roughly 4 to 10. I heard a lot of moms reaching out to me saying, I have nowhere to bring my kid to make friends. Like they get overstimulated. Other places like Malvin Jack's and Joe's, like they don't really want to play with each other, but I want them to be in the same room as other people. I said, well, I have space for that now. Let's do it. So that actually has nothing to do with music therapy at all. It's just a parallel play group. So I have different stations set up and they can play together if they want. Like together, I have pictures of how I set it up at the end.
That's smart. This is so true. Like a lot of our kids, they would have kids, but
Yeah.
they don't. I mean, you even kind of encourage, you never know what's going to happen.
And this is how play works. It starts with parallel play.
Yeah.
Usually it's younger age kids are doing this, like, preschool, before preschool. But other kids, what's wrong with parallel play, right? Like, let's give them the chance to do that.
My son likes to watch other kids play.
Yeah. And I cap it at 8 kids, so then I have like a sensory friendly room, swing, lines, all the stuff. So I'll show you pictures of that after. One of my colleagues, his name is Zach, and he is a music therapist. And he said, I want to start a community choir. I want a choir that anybody who wants to sing can come and sing. It doesn't matter if you're 5, it doesn't matter if you're 90. We can make music together and we can do this as a community. And our first rehearsal is actually tomorrow. So I'm really excited. If any of you want to sing, let me know.
What's the difference in
Multi-generation. So the idea is again, not to become the best musician in the world. There's no audition. It's to build a sense of community, share music that you like with other people, learn music from different time periods, different genres, different styles.
And it's at your own.
And it does at my office, yes.
You don't have to be able to read music.
You don't have to be able to read music. No. That's anything about what you want. And it's from 6 to 7. So at the end, I have a QR code that takes you to my website, which has all of this information and all the registrations and stuff more detailed.
If you have that set up for any, well, I'll part of the things you added to help search. So,
Yes.
it's strictly just related, so it's not. So,
Since I worked with and am still working with a teen with a disability and work in supported employment, I also heard a lot of people say, there's so much stuff out there for kids. What about our people who are transitioning out of high school? Where do they make friends? Where do they hang out? So I said, I've got the space. So we'll be doing our first teen movie night, March 7th. So coming right up. Again, I'm going to cap it at like 10 people. There's gonna be snacks, popcorn. We're gonna watch Freaky Friday, and it's for 2.5 hours on a Friday night. So you can drop your kid off. Maybe like 1 and watch it over and over again. Seconds. Find the same.
That's good too. That's exactly that.
It's a way to socialize with same age peers in a safe setting. It's okay. Like parents can leave. They can feel like they're a teenager doing a fun teenager thing. Friday night. When I posted that, people said, well, why don't you do that for adults? I have adults living with me. They need a movie night. So then I said, okay, I'll do adult movie night. That's going to be the 14th. And there, I hear Avengers are all the rage. So we're going to watch Avengers in game. So yes, new office space. So you want to kind of visualize what it looks like. There's a little entryway. I always have snacks and drinks out, just People always need to munch, stay hydrated. This is the music therapy room. So I do have all my instruments in there. Piano, I've got drums on the other side. Then I have the sensory swing in there, I have the couch in there, I keep low lights in there. There's a bubble tube. I just love to get fixated on watching that. It's a very calm place. So during the like play groups and stuff, if the kid would rather be in that room, that's totally, that swings the big hit. This is the larger community room. So like this side has a big projector that I put up for movies and stuff like that. We can project stuff for the choir, the words, on the screen, like that. And then that is the art therapist space. So if you know anybody looking for some art therapy, talk to me. It's a nice space there too. And this is what I set up for the play group. I don't know how little bit your eyesight is. In the middle, I have a balance beam and gym pads and what are those little blocks called? Like they can play and make obstacle courses and stuff like that. There's a ball pit, tent, tunnel, and then around that big play station is little areas, like stations that kids can play at if they don't want to be a part of the group in the middle. So I have building stuff, got like a little kitchen, about a train and car station, there's a Play-Doh table, and then the art room is set up people would rather draw. So it gives people the opportunity to walk around and leave the space if you need to leave the space, or if they want to play with others, they can. That's pretty strategic in how I set that up.
You study Montessori?
Not formally. So yes, that's the address and my cell phone, my email, and that just goes to my website, which has literally all this information on there. Oh, what was that group? How do I sign up? How much is it? All the information's on my website. Yes, cards. I did bring some the Oreos and some little fidgets and slime and cups and pens. So please take whatever you like. Are there any questions?
You should just do Fayette County or travel outside.
I do travel outside. Right now I'm just in Georgetown, I think Blissville. I'm all around within Fayette County, and like I said, the telehealth being an option. The Medicaid referrals that I've gotten are people who are not in the area, so that's.
How many hours do you say?
Yeah, I'm still working on my master's too, right?
Second.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, the video. I'm talking on the site as well.
So you work at Fayette County?
Yes.
Does anybody have questions? Any online or?
Do you know any musical thing to help with like relaxation, breathing, physical, and this time with music somehow? What? That age range? My son is 39. 39, okay. Yeah. Let me look and I can get your phone number after this and see if I can find some good ones that I like online or music therapists who have posted videos or something. There's a lot for kids. There's a music therapist named Stephanie Level, and she makes really great stuff all about social emotional learning, but that probably would be age appropriate for your 39-year-old. 39-year-old.
39, yeah.
So
I don't know, my kids still watch the hand washing video.
yeah,
Yeah.
there are certainly
And he's 17.
Yeah, you do.
with live music therapy, workouts like that, sometimes we'll take like a guided imagery script, or we'll write our own, or I'll write my own, and make it specific to what that person finds calming, and then add live music to it. A nice calming, maybe on the piano or on the guitar, and do something live. But somebody must have recorded themselves doing that.
These students like myself. You got things that are for.
Yes. And that all comes down to the license person, meeting them where they're at, right? If I don't meet the person where they're at, there's no way they're gonna engage with me. And I've had some sessions where it took multiple weeks for somebody to warm up and want to engage, and then it's become like their favorite thing. And they like this routine, they know exactly what they're gonna do. And then sometimes you also have to realize that sometimes maybe it's not a good fit for some people. I can't, and that's okay.
Whatever works.
And that's okay, yeah. But it tends to be a good fit for 99% of the people that I've seen. Usually they want to be there, or they're somehow motivated by music.
Did you go through the waivers, the show?
That's another point too. So they're all with us for precious waivers. So I've been doing that for seven years now.
You've been being paid through.
After music from here for
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You can do that.
I can, yeah. Oh, she definitely gets some music. I would love for that to be for music therapy to be a covered service.
So,
I've signed everything that's from my people are working on that because I'm asked to sign things all the time for it. So just people want it. People are trying to get that.
You've been paying 7 years. How many of them?
I went back to school in 2020. It took you do 3 semesters of coursework and then a semester of full-time internship, about 2 years, and then I could sit for my board certification exam. Passed that, and then I decided to stay in school for the master's program. Hopefully I'll graduate this spring if I finish my thesis. It'll be
That's what you do instead. So
that's what I should be doing instead of schooling. So another 2 years. So I've formally been practicing for only 2 years. My business has been open for 2 years, and it's fun to see it grow.
yeah, you got one.
So, if you ever have like, hey, the need of the community, you have a good idea. I'm always down to try. Space in big. I got the space. No, I want Central Kentucky Creative Therapies to be in a community space that's open for anyone who needs a space to come.
my son already goes to 2 music therapists. So,
Oh,
I'm gonna add a third.
is it in Fayette County?
He sees no right.
Oh, nice.
Then also, yes.
Okay.
She retired.
Do you have Eastern State?
Yes. Just sure.
But I'm in.
Hey, does he want to come to an adult movie night or something?
Right.
I want to make some fun.
So what is on a couple of those things, like what's the program?